Welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Business Analyst, the InDemand Business Analyst and Scrum Master channel. This is where we talk all about business analysts, Scrum Master, project management. And today we have a special guest, and we're going to be talking all about product management. I am super excited to introduce our guest here today, Kalmafan, who is one of my past students, and I've helped him transition into a BA role. But beyond what I've helped him with, he's gone ahead and transitioned into a product owner role, and then most recently, he's an expert in a product manager role. So this segment will talk about his journey. As so many people are curious, I get lots of questions on the YouTube channel about like how do we transition? I'm a BA or I'm a QA. How do I transition into a business analyst? And we have some videos on how to transition from different roles to BA. But I'm super excited to have Kelma on to talk about his transition into from a business analyst to a
Oh,
product manager role. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and mute. If everybody could go ahead and mute yourself. Um, Give me 1 second, I'll mute everybody just to make sure we don't have any disturbance. Okay. So with that said, Kelma, thank you so much for being here. You are in Canada. You are working as a product manager. Wanted to just, what do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody about, a little bit about your background and how you first got into, how did you first get into the business analyst role?
absolutely. Again, Sarabji, thank you for having me. I mean, it's always a joy. I'm always excited when I have to come back to a program. I would say a program that gave me a lot to talk back to you guys and sort of share my experience. And hopefully, my experience can actually motivate or help someone. A little bit about myself. I think I have been in the product role for let's say over 5 years right now. Just like you guys, I started like this where I was in a situation where I had studied business analysis and I was trying to build myself. I was trying to transition to break into that role, right? So I came across a YouTube video on which was Sarabji's YouTube video, and I contacted her. I got into her program, and I landed a BA role. So I started working as a BA. It was really fun. I mean, I loved the role. Then I think I had taken some Scrum Master, sorry, product owner training, and in the course of me being a BA, I got contacted by a recruiter about the product owner role. So I actually applied for that role and I did the interview and I had the role. I went into the whole product owner role, which is technically like there's a lot of similarities with what I was doing as a business analyst. So I was able to still thrive in that role. Then after some time, I returned back to the business analyst role. And I was working for this company where I was pretty much the business analyst for a support team. So what I was doing is basically support. I wasn't really working on projects like that, right? So if there is maybe a case, like I have to review that case and do some root cause analysis to understand if this is actually a bug or maybe this is a system behavior. So I did that role for over a year and I landed another business analyst role. So the title was product management business analyst role. And over there in the company, we had a whole team of product management, where in that team we had product managers and we had business analysts. So I think I was there for a year, and over the course of the year, the company decided basically the business analyst and the product management, like the rules are somehow interwoven, and like we are pretty much doing the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. So they were like, all right, all business analysts should do the switch to product manager. So technically, the whole role of product management was a new concept to me, right? But you definitely get to find there are some similarities, well
Hmm.
as some differences between the product manager and between the business analyst. So how I did my transition.
So
Uh,
just a minute. I want to make sure that we're following your journey. So what you started as a business analyst. What motivated you to be a business analyst? Like why business analyst outside of everything else you could have done?
so mine is a funny story, right? Uh, Initially, let's say I moved from Cameroon to Canada. And after my bachelor's degree in Cameroon, I was working for this company where they were doing some shipments, right? So basically, I was actually helping this company with like the online invoices and everything. And I was sort of streamlining the whole process, right? So I had an interesting conversation with my cousins back here in Canada, and I was just sort of explaining the role which I was doing with the company. And they were like, basically, what you're doing, like, there's actually a role here, which is some of the similar, they call it business analyst, where you are pretty much streamlining the processes and you are helping
Hmm.
organization meet their needs, right? Like you're solving some kind of complex problems for organization. So that was how I started on this. I was intrigued, right?
So you
I
came to
started,
Canada and you're like business analyst. This is all I'm doing. And you, I'm sure, watched a ton of YouTube videos and did a lot of Google searches because ChatGPT wasn't there at that point, I'm sure, right? And
yes.
so you immersed yourself into the business analyst role. You figured out your path. So now imagine you're working as a business analyst. And what prompted you to, I know you said in your intro, you said you started as a product owner and then a program manager. So tell us, or product manager, I keep confusing the two roles. So like, is it always like, are you the type, because there's, personalities too. Are you always looking
Mhm.
to climb the corporate ladder? Is that, what drove you to change these roles when they came about? Or what helped you, or what made you go from business analyst to product owner or product manager?
For me, and this is what I always tell people, right? It's more about flexibility. And this is what I'll tell everyone, right? You should be able to be flexible to work in whatever role, right? Because right now, let's say if I have an opportunity as a business analyst, I'm able to do that. If
Mm-hmm.
I have an opportunity to work as a product manager, I'm able to do that. If I have an opportunity to work as a product owner, I'm able to do that. So I try to make myself flexible as much
Mm-hmm.
as possible. So I can be able to switch roles, like whatever duty calls I'm able to answer present in those roles. And there's also something which I'm actually looking at, though I've never worked, I'm actually looking at project management on its own. So
Woo.
that's something really interesting which I'm eyeing to.
I can help you. Outside of that, so let's go back to your journey. So obviously, everybody wants to have that flexibility because in today's environment, if you can transition into different roles, that's the best place you could be, right? So how did you prepare? You said a recruiter reached out to you, a product owner, or it sounded like your company shifted from a business analyst to a product manager role. Is that correct? Is that how
Yes,
you ended up into product manager role today that you're in?
yes. So there was a transition which the company went, like they were pretty much transitioning all business analysts to product managers. So
Okay.
we had to take a product academic training.
Okay.
So
That the
I don't know.
company provided or did you do on your own?
No, the company provided.
Okay. Okay.
So it's called Product Academy. I think I don't know if you've ever heard of Melissa. I've forgotten her name. Like she pretty much she runs that academy. So we had I think a 2 weeks training
Okay.
for Product Academy where we were pretty much learning all the techniques to be a product manager, like what are the do's or not the do's and don't do's for product managers. Because at the end, as a product manager, we are trying to build a solution that best fits what our users needs, right? So
Hmm.
we went through the whole product academy. This actually helped my journey in transitioning into a product manager because I get to understand exactly what the role really entails. I get to understand how to draw or come up with a product roadmap.
Hmm.
how to definitely get a whole vision on the product which I'm trying to do. So that training, it was really important in my journey as a product manager.
So that's perfect. Thank you for sharing. And for us to have context around what type of work you're doing. So what kind of environment are you in? Are you agile? Are you hybrid? Are you agile? Are you waterfall? What kind of environment are you in?
So I would say it's an agile environment. And so the way, because I mean, you said you're right, like each organization actually has its own style of doing things and they sort of adopt different methodologies to fit what they're doing, right? So the way we work with, I think right now I'm currently working with I would say about five different teams, right? Depending on the projects which I am working on, right? I'm working with five different teams, and it's sort of in an agile way where at the beginning of the whole project, like they are required, like I'm required to come up with what the requirements with. I definitely work with the UX, UI designers to get screens or mock-up for what we're trying to develop. Then I work with the architects, so the architects to definitely get how the solution is going to be, like what are the estimates, and once that is ready, I schedule a kickoff, which is like the first grooming with the team, just to explain what they're trying to do. From there now, like the teams pick up the work and they start working on that, and if need be, we schedule grooming as we go till like once they're
Mhm.
ready, they do a demo, and if it's accepted, it pushes out. So
What kind
it's
of
some
products are you guys building? I'm curious now with like all these teams involved, what kind of products are you guys building?
So we build like the company which I work for, like we produce HCM, human capital management software. So like companies use our products for scheduling, payroll, hiring. So we are a SaaS company, like we give software as a service.
Software as a service.
Yes.
Okay, and one more question related to your projects. Are you building net new products or are you enhancing existing products?
So it's a combination of two, right? We already have our product, which has been in the
Refined.
market,
Mm-hmm.
yes, which has been in
Mm-hmm.
the market for a very long time. So we definitely have customized ideas coming in. We also have CAP sessions, which is a customer advisory board, where we have interactions with customers for them to talk about like features which they want to see, and based on whatever voting of that, we know okay, this is what we want to enhance, this is what we want to add to our product. So we keep enhancing and adding more functionalities to our product.
I love it. I love it. I love hearing this because these are the concepts that I always talk about on YouTube or in my training programs because oftentimes we're not investing in building anything new, right?
Yeah.
We continue to enhance either, we're fixing defects or we're adding new functionality or we're, continuing to, you know, do bigger and better, add more efficiencies to the existing product suites that we have. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now I want to talk about, the differences. You mentioned there's few key differences, and even though this was a company transition, how is your role now different from business analyst to a product manager? What are you doing differently now? And
Mhm.
so I guess the company culture did change. Did the company culture change because of management, or why did they all of a sudden decide they wanted to go the product manager route versus a business analyst?
So I would not say it was a company culture change because like the company had product managers and they had business analysts, right? So the business analysts were more supporting the product managers, right? So they just wanted everyone to be product
The same,
managers.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
makes sense.
In terms of what is the difference, I would say right now I get to interact more with customers, right?
Hmm.
So I think in a week at times, let's say, for example, I might be at least maybe two or three customer calls a week where now I'm interacting with these customers, like I get to see their pain points, right? Like they get to share how they use our products, like what they will love our products to do. And also like I get to go on site for customer visits, like just to watch what they are doing, like how they use our products. And so it kind of like, it makes me happy to see like something which we have
There's more
developed.
ownership. There's more
Exactly.
ownership. And
Yeah.
I guess like, as we know, the traditional business analyst, you gather requirements, you help with UAT, and once you're done, you start over with a new project. So now are you managing, it sounds like your company, you guys do SaaS products. Are you managing one particular SaaS product, or do they have multiple managers managing each of the applications that you guys have?
So they have multiple product managers, right? Our company has, I think, like three separate products. I work on one of the product,
Mm-hmm.
just to let you know how big it is. I work on one of the product, and like the little part which I work just on the scheduling part on that product. And just on scheduling, we have more than 10 product managers because
Mm.
it's really
It's so
huge,
big.
right?
It's big,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but what we try to do, we have little component ownerships, right? So there is a
Okay.
component which like I am the owner of that component because
Okay.
before any changes is done
Oh,
there, like I'll need to definitely validate those changes. So we do have little component ownerships.
so so I'm telling you right now, you're worth more in the market than just a product manager. You're also doing relationship management and customer engagement, right? Because if you're interacting with the customer and making sure, along with building the product, you're also, doing a lot more. So it sounds like, if I can summarize this for you, business analyst, you were interacting with the product manager for enhancements, but now as a product manager, you are not only building the end to end, you're also managing that relationship with the customer that you're assigned to make sure if they have any enhancements that they want, or if they for recent enhancements that you've implemented, what's the feedback? How are they liking it? So you also engage with the customer, right, in an ongoing relationship to make sure that they're doing well, and have, if they have any feedback, in terms of what you're supporting them with. Is that right?
Yes, I do that, but we also have CSM, customer success managers too. So
Mm-hmm.
mo at times when we're on those calls, like they are there on those calls. So
Mm-hmm.
usually like they schedule those calls, and they usually want product on those calls, so we can be able to drive the discussion at times. But we also have them in our company.
That's such a valuable perspective. Thank you so much for sharing that, especially for somebody that's, you know, been in this role and wants to transition out. It's helpful to have that perspective and understand, what you are doing day to day and how your job is a little bit different, because it is so valuable to, have that experience. So thank you again so much for sharing that. Um, Quick question though. A question. Are you using the SAFe framework in the agile development, or what kind of framework are you guys using? Or Scrum or SAFe?
So I would say we are using Scrum. I think I think we used Safe. We tried using Safe. I think last year, but I don't know. Like the feedback wasn't good, but we actually just we switched to Scrum. But again, it depends on the project which we are working on, right? Where we use Safe, like it involved like many different teams which they were working for one goal, right? But when it's just a project where a single team can deliver what they're supposed to, like they can deliver their MVP they're supposed to deliver. We use Scrum there.
Sounds good. Thank you. And so let's talk about skills, tools, and growth, because oftentimes, everybody says to me, "Hey, Sarabjit, what tools are you using, as a business analyst, as a Scrum Master, and as a project manager?" So there's key differences. Are there any new tools that you're using as a product manager now that you weren't using as a business analyst?
what I would say, I mean, which is it's a new tool. I don't know if you've heard of Pendo.
What is it called?
So Pendo, right?
No.
It's more it's an analytical tool. So we have our products actually out there, like they are tagged using Pendo. So it's sort of like it gives us the data to know the usage of our product, right? So we know for this particular functionality, we have this amount of people using. So it kind of like it gives us an idea for product management so we can easily drive decisions, right? So we know this particular component, like we have the highest usage of this particular component, like we have, it gets us to know, okay, this is where we can invest our time more and we can invest our resources more, right?
Mm, mm,
Same as if we deliver a new functionality, because we, in our organization, we have the concept of a future switch, right? We can deliver a functionality because customer A might want this functionality and customer B might not want this functionality. So we deliver a feature and it's behind a feature switch, right? If you don't want that feature, your system admin can actually go turn off that feature
turn it
switch.
off.
So
Okay.
yeah, so when we have Pendo, like Pendo actually sees us, like we know the adoption rate, we know, all right, we have
Hmm.
a lot of customers using this functionality, using this feature. So Pendo is one tool which I get to use as a product management. Then I mean Figma, like I mean it's more for view only because I don't really go drawing on Figma, but my UX, like my UX team, once like they have deliver a design, so I definitely use Figma like just to see the
To
design and
view
review,
their designs. Okay.
exactly review the designs. I mean, those are the two. I would say those are the two new tools which I use as a product manager. The rest, I mean, like Jira, it's your day-to-day tool. And, Microsoft, like Word, like those are tools which you use every day. Then also an important tool, which is really important, and I will tell you right now, like the world is evolving. Like if you're not using it, you have to use it. Right? AI tools are there to help you. So I'm encouraging you guys to use it. It's
Yeah.
really important.
So
Yeah.
which AI tools do you use?
So our company actually we use ChatGPT,
Hmm.
and we also have Replit.
Okay. And how do you use them?
So I use ChatGPT actually like to help write PROD, product requirement documents.
Hmm.
Also, like it helps me maybe write, analyze my emails at times. So I also have like some of my prompts which like I have, which actually help me in at times when like there is a meeting, I just copy the meeting transcript and I'm able to get a summarized notes for
Yes,
those meetings. So
yes.
it helps and it saves time
Yes,
too. So
yes. These are some of the things that I've been talking about internally within the training program. But it's it's I fully embrace AI tools and I recommend we use them. So thank you so much for sharing that. Another question for you. So now that you're a product manager, right? What skills? So if somebody's thinking about transitioning into this role, what skills do you think are critical for them to have? And I'll give you some context. A lot of times, folks come to me and they say, I don't have technical skills. How am I going to be a BA? And as I've taught you and many others, for BAs to be successful, yes, technical skills help, but majority of the time it's the soft skills. So now that you've been a business analyst, product owner, product manager, what skill sets do you think are critical for somebody to have to be successful in the product manager role?
I mean, I always say this, and you're right, right? So you don't necessarily need those technical skills to get into this role, right? It's just the soft skills. The most important is your communication skills, right? As far as you're able to communicate, like you should be good. I know at times like we usually get worried, like, okay, I'm just getting into this company. It's okay to get into the company first 2 months, like you're still learning, you don't understand, right? You don't understand what it's going on. It's okay to even get into meetings, you're not able to participate, but try to show like you're willing, right? Ask some kind of questions, right? Even if you cannot contribute as you would have loved to contribute, but ask questions because I mean, I've learned like there's never a dumb question, right? You can, especially as a BA, like you have to ask questions, like all questions are important. So ask those questions, and as far as you're asking those questions, like it's showing like you're trying to understand and you want to communicate. So soft skills like communication, it's really important. And you should be able to be a good listener to understand. And when I say listen, I'll
Mhm.
put this in this way, right? At times, the customer is asking for something, but you should be able to listen to understand, like, what does the customer needs, right? You should be able to get that. So the customer can come and is telling you everything, like you are listening, but listen to understand what does the customer needs, because at the end, your job is to make sure you have satisfied that customer needs, right? So like you might go delivering a solution which does not meet or satisfy that customer needs. So you have to listen to understand exactly what are we going to provide, which is going to solve like that particular solution for the customer.
That's such a great insight. Thank you so much for sharing. So my last product manager question. What advice would you give to somebody who's looking to transition into a BA role and then also into a product manager role? Any advice that, or how about this? What would you tell your younger self while you were going through these transitions?
And do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
I mean, yeah, just do it. Yeah, because I mean, all right, because at times, like we always see that and we ask ourselves questions and we start second guessing ourselves, right? It's doable, all right. It's really doable, and the thing is, skills which we have from business analysts, we can pretty much bring those skills into project management, right? The main skills which is required, which I've always said, is communication. If you have those soft skills, if you can communicate, get in it, start doing it, you will definitely learn the product as you go, right? So my current company where I've been working as a product manager, I think I'm going 3 years right now with them. Trust me, I'm learning the product every day.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's like you definitely learn the product as you go. So if you can communicate, just do it, go and do it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing this conversation. I know it's going to help lots of people. For the next maybe 10 minutes, we'll open it up for anybody else that has questions related to the product manager role. So if you guys have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask your questions now. And if there are no questions, that's fine too. All right. Well, go ahead.
No, I have questions. Hi.
Hi. Go ahead,
Hey,
Sabrina.
Um,
Sabrina.
yeah, thank you for here. I'll turn my camera on. Why not? Hold on, give me a second. Um, here. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, I have a few questions. So when you started off the conversation saying that you you'd work with like complex problems, right? So when it comes to the BA role or and product role, um what is your approach to to the workflow for solving complex problems?
So again, it depends on the kind of problems, right? The approach is you have to understand what the problem is, right? How do you understand what the problem is? First of all, you have to understand who are the stakeholders involved, right? Schedule a meeting, have a discussion with them, right? Once you've understood what the problem is, many a times you are not required to actually have that particular solution for the problem, right? They are definitely subject matter experts. On my role, like I do have architects, like system or solution architects, which they pretty much know the whole product at the back of their head, right? So definitely it's your role to spark up that conversation with them, right? It's your role to bring everyone to the table, like you have the discussion. in the course of the discussion, it's not a one-man effort. Like you all are putting on your heads together, you're brainstorming. And from there now solutions will start coming up.
And thank you for that. Okay, this was a question I had on an interview. Can you tell me, you said that for your component, you have several product owners or product managers, right? So what is the size of the typical teams you work on? Because if it's one component is 10 uh product managers, how big are the teams you're working on? And how big are your meetings? Are they like hundreds of people, like 50?
So it depends. It depends on the organization, but I'll tell you, like the company I work for, it's really big, right? If just for one part, just for scheduling, right, which is just a part of a product, like we have that more than 10 product managers. So just know it's really big. So the way our company works, right, we have smaller teams, like I'll say Scrum teams, which are made up of, I think, eight, maybe 6 or 7 devs, including QAs, right? And those teams are actually led by, they have a dev manager. So uh, at the start of, I think, at the start of a fiscal year, we come up with a roadmap, right? This roadmap is definitely defined by what we have committed to the customers. So we share this roadmap to the customers. They know this is what is coming. So once we have the roadmap, and that means we've definitely done our homework, and the architects have given high level estimates for that, so they know this is what we're supposed to do in, let's say, for example, for the first half of 2026. This is what we've committed. So we have those in the form of epics. So each epic is now assigned to a particular team, and each epic is assigned to a product manager. So remember, I said those teams are made up of 7 or 8 developers, including QAs and all whatnot. So once that is ready, and definition for ready means the architect has given the high level design and the mid level estimates explaining the technicalities, what needs to be done. The product manager has his product requirement document, which is equivalent to a BRD for a business analyst. Like if it's actually an epic that requires UX, and the UX have delivered the UX design. So once that is ready, you now take it to the team of 7 developers. You organize like a kickoff or a grooming session. You're explaining the business value, what you're trying to do here. You explain the requirements. And if the team has questions based on that, like they ask you the question, you explain. And if it's ready, you go. So I don't, what I'm trying to say is like, I don't have a stable teams. I work with different teams
It
depending on the
depends. It
project.
depends on the size and scope. So
Yes.
yeah, so size and scope. So when they're building something like bigger, right, the teams may be a lot larger. But then if it's a smaller
Yeah.
enhancement or if it's a defect fix, for example, then it all depends on the size and the scope.
Okay. Oh, and then also finding your role. Last question, I promise. Finding
Mhm.
your role. Okay, I've talked to some recruiters and some and I've had an interview where the salary seems relatively pretty high, but the job doesn't seem like I'm going to grow that much, you know? And then there's how do you kind of like how do you really pick do you when you got into the role, was it like, okay, I'm gonna get whatever I can get, or were you thinking like I want to work on certain kind of systems or I want to have a certain kind of project so I could actually grow, or was it all like salary? Like what drove you to make the decision?
So it depends on what is your motivation, right? I would say for me right now, my motivation is working as in the product management role. Like there are a lot of things which I've gotten to learn about software development than I did as a business analyst. That's one, right? Now I am more exposed. I'm talking a lot with customers. I get to understand that. I'm working hand in hand with the UX teams. So it sort of helps me to understand UX design and to understand what are accessibility requirements for a system. I had no idea about accessibility when I was working as a business analyst. So it just depends on your motivation. So if you are really, let's say, a curious person, you want to learn more, you want to understand is more when it comes to software development, with product management role, you are not really working close with the product and you're working close with the customer. So it all depends on what your motivation is.
Okay.
I can tell you as a PM or a product manager, it doesn't seem like you're growing much, but you're managing the whole implementation, right? So whether it be, um, even an enhancement or any type of project, you are managing from the beginning to the end up until delivery. So I often say as a PM, as a project manager, or as a program manager, I'm a glorified secretary, but my job is so critical in the success of that project because without having somebody to, and I wouldn't say nag, but manage the teams and support them where they need support. I think that's critical. And maybe, Kama, you and I can talk about, because I have project and program management experience, you have product management experience. So maybe the my role is to make sure, so we have UX design teams, right? We have developers, we have architects, we have all of the key roles that you've mentioned, but we don't, because in my environment, we don't own products. We implement, software implementations from one big implementation to the next. And so once something is in production, it goes for art companies, it goes to maintenance and operations, and then those teams take over. I do believe, and this is my personal opinion, that once projects go into M&O, this is where we need product managers to continue building and making that system, that product that we've implemented and put into production more successful, right? And I think that's the key role where, projects end here, but product managers continue that journey on and making sure that those products continue to be relevant and continue to get the awareness and insight and the dollars and everything that it needs to continue to be relevant in the market today. So um, I think I've done a great job summarizing both project
Yeah,
manager
yeah,
and product
you,
manager, project manager and product manager roles. All right. Any other questions? We'll take one last question for Kalma, and then we'll thank him for his time. Any questions? Any other
Yes, I
questions we
have
have for
one.
him?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, since you've had a lot of experience in various different parts of Scrum and Safe, and in the whole agile space, what would you say is like some of your greatest challenges or things like that that you have encountered?
so I would not really call it a challenge, but I'll call it a learning opportunity. Uh, so there have actually been a time where I was writing a PRZ, right? And I actually wrote a lot of functionalities, and I was about to send that to the customer because we write PRD, we send to the customers for them to validate. And but good thing, I think before that I shared that with my boss, right? So he was able to review that, and he gave me a lesson, which is it's really a vital lesson because it's always better to, let's say, it's always better to commit a little than you deliver much. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, right? It's better to commit something small and you deliver much. So it falls back to the part where we say like you have to understand how to interact with customers, right? Imagine I had send that priority to customers and me putting all those functionalities there. And at the end of the day, we were not able to deliver those functionalities. Like the customers would have heard us to that, okay, we have this in the priority. Why are you guys only delivering this? So that was sort of a lesson which I had learned. I had learned on the way. So it's a learning process. Like we keep learning every day, and it's okay to make those errors. And it's okay to learn from those errors.
Okay. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Well, again, this was such an inspiring conversation. Not only do I get to celebrate your success, Kalma, because I've seen you grow from the very beginning to where you are today, but I also want to thank you for sharing your journey from a business analyst to a product manager and giving everybody, our viewers, some actionable insights in what does even a product manager do on the day-to-day and how is their role different. So I want to thank you so much for being here with us. And then if you're watching this and thinking about making the transition, if you have any other questions, please put them in the comments below. I know how to get in touch with Kalma and we can try to answer between the both of us, answer those questions and help you out. And with that, thank you everyone. Please hit like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for any new content that we share. Until next time, we will catch you later. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.